There are a lot of things to think about when producing a song, and one of those things is how you manage the transitions. So going from a verse into a chorus. A lot of times those will just take care of themselves. The way the guitars build up, the way the drums come in, the way you add in extra parts at the chorus, that will take care of that transition and it sounds lovely. But occasionally there's a section where it feels okay, but you really could use one extra piece to glue it together. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So we're coming out of this verse. I'll give you a couple of bars. So the transition point is right here at chorus 2. And everything's fine, but it just feels like it's missing something. So the drum part changes. He goes from hi-hat to playing the crash cymbal. Extra guitars come in, and they build up quite a bit, like this. Nasty, thick jokers. But there's just something about it that just, I was like, we were all in the studio saying, man, there's just one more thing that it could use. And that answer, in this instance, for me, was cymbal swells. So, if you're not familiar, I actually recorded years and years ago, like couple decades ago, I got to record on a percussion session with a really great percussionist, and we recorded some cymbal swells for a song I was producing. Well, I kept those cymbal swells, and I've been using them ever since, and I have them as a gift for you, by the way. Just go to homestudiocorner.com/swells, enter your email, and I'll send you a zip file with these. There's a couple of different cymbal swell files in there. So if you drag this into a session, you'll see there's a number here. They're all mostly the same. Here at the beginning, we have the little chime thing. I don't think I've ever used that. I think the chime comes in at the end, but typically I'm using one of these big 3 in the middle. And here's, in case you're just not familiar, it's literally, he's got a pair of cymbals. He's using mallets to slowly bring them in and kind of create a crescendo, and then it fades out naturally. Now, I've been giving out these cymbal swells for years. Early on, I would give it to my folks who bought some of my courses to mess around with. And so I'm starting to hear them, like my VIP members use them a lot in the different challenges that we do. And one thing I noticed in the last just couple of months is that people are using the swells, which I think is swell. I'm sorry. But they seem to be putting them in the wrong spot. And so that's the point of this video, is to show you where I would put those. So I'm going to we're going to use that cymbal swell because I think that one makes the most sense. They're all pretty much the same. I'm going to mute these, and I'm going to give it a little fade just so there's no pop in the audio. And I'm going to copy this and paste it over here at that transition into chorus 2. So here is the mistake. Let me play you the mistake that people make when using the cymbal swells, and I'll show you where I like to put it. For some reason, they will put the cymbal swell somewhere like this. And so let's just listen to that real quick. It's hard to hear. I had it turned down a little bit, but it comes after the downbeat. And I noticed this over and over, even in like softer ballad type music, it's even more obvious, but the swell came after the downbeat. So here's how I think about it. The downbeat is, like, you look at these measures, it's the first beat of a measure. It's where the cymbals would crash, for example. That crash needs to line up with this peak here of this cymbal swell. So that means you're probably not going to want this to snap to a grid. You're going to want to just drag this to the exact spot where the peak of that cymbal swell is happening right over that downbeat. And then it starts to work nicely. So then it almost has this reverse effect. Reverse cymbals do a similar thing. I like cymbal swells when I can because they're just cool and a little more natural. But it begins to swell up and expand before the downbeat, and then at the downbeat is this nice big thing. Now, it does sometimes interfere with the drum cymbals. In this particular song, I didn't have it that loud. I had it just as a subtle kind of background sound. In something like a ballad, hang on, let me open one for you. Okay, here's a ballad, same cymbal swell. I actually combined that with a reversed piano part that goes in reverse and then plays in a reverb. So that sounds like this. So that's really fun. But you'll notice on this section in a ballad, it has even more of an impact. So you want that peak to hit right at the downbeat. And for some reason, I see more people doing this number. I'm not sure why. Maybe they're just not thinking about it. Just awkward, right? And of course, coming in early would be not that great either. So, if you've never thought about it and you're just slapping a cymbal swell on there, there is a peak to it. There's a point where he stops touching the cymbals. That's the loudest point, and then it decays down. Line that up with your downbeat of the section, the kind of the turning point between the two sections you're trying to kind of glue together, and you'll be good to go. Once again, if you don't have those swells yet, you can get them for free. HomeStudioCorner.com/swells. Otherwise, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.